Welcome back. Today, I'd like to talk about tension and release in music, especially in harmony and melody. Music theoreticians use words like dominant, leading tone, motif, variation to describe the way musical events are structured in a piece. At its best, tension and release in music is used in the way that protagonist and antagonist is used to create a dramatic arc in any narrative form, any basic three-act concept. There's a kind of a setup and a recognition of a character, and then we put them in jeopardy. We actually put them in some sort of peril. And that's resolved somehow or not resolved. My teacher, Roland Wiggins, used to call it the anticipation-fulfillment dyad. And anticipation and fulfillment seem to be fundamental to the human experience. We see it cross-culturally, and it seems to be built into an awful lot of structures that we experience on a day-to-day basis. But for an ambient composer particularly like myself, I am challenged by that idea. Let's just try for a moment to play a little piano music that has no tension and no release. It's beautiful, and yet, and though I was trying very hard to not use the types of chords that create a sense of forward motion and the tension and resolution that's so common in a lot of harmonic structures, just the very act of repetition, doing the same thing twice, created a sense of anticipation for me. Nevertheless, there are some very powerful tools we can use. In conventional harmony, that is to say, the harmony that comes out of the do-re-mi scale, without echo, there's one chord in the series which has a very powerful force. It's the chord that's built on the fifth step of the scale, and it sounds like this. And we expect it to do something, and that expectation creates all kinds of possibilities for a composer. For an ambient composer, I want to avoid that. It wants to go here. Music theoreticians call this the dominant chord. The idea of dominance, of protagonist, a theme or a motif, and antagonist, something pushing against that motif, runs throughout almost all Western music. I won't even talk about how rhythm works with it right now. But just the idea that a melody has an answer which unsettles it, is something that you'll recognize again and again and again if you pay attention to it. Let's play a little more music that tries to release itself from those bounds. For those of you playing along at home, the minor 7 chord, in this case minor 7 with a 9th on top, has a ambiguous and beautiful quality. And as you heard, I never changed the harmonic center. And this is the answer to scale theory that many primary cultures, original and indigenous musics around the world have come to. European music is practiced from the 16th century or so, was very interested and concerned with the relationship between the dominant chord and the home chord. But that wasn't true globally. And in musics from lots of cultures, a central tone is just where you live. For ambient composers, that's the way to go. But we have a special struggle, and I guess I would just describe it thusly. Our listeners, the audience, is conditioned to demand the play of dominance and submission. And for a composer who would reject that, the struggle is very real.